everyone, I'm Dr. Nandita Mohan and welcome to Medical Dialogues, your daily dose of health and medical news. Today we are going to discuss a very interesting topic, chest pain. Now we all know what is chest pain. There are a lot of causes, there are a lot of symptoms of chest pain, and diagnosing this particular problem or a condition in particular becomes very challenging at times. So it is known that chest pain usually presents about 5% of the total symptoms, particularly. And to conclude or to come to a particular diagnosing test is very challenging. Now, AHA, and that is the American Heart Association and the American College of Cardiology, have revealed or rather unfolded certain guidelines or new additions to guidelines for the evaluation as well as the diagnostic part of chest pain. Now we have upon with us Dr. Prem Agarwal, a senior researcher in cardiology, a leading academician, a senior editor cardiology department at Medical Dialogues, to help us unfold these new guidelines. A very good afternoon, sir. We welcome you on board. So we know that AHA and ACC have revealed certain guidelines or new additions to the previously existing guidelines. Now, there are certain questions that we would like you to answer for us.
Okay, thank you, Nandita. In fact, it's the first time that chest pain, which is one of the very common symptoms, in fact, large number of patients at the emergency department presents with the chest pain. And it is a very important question in front of the mind of people, that whether this chest pain can be the reason for a very, very dangerous condition causing immediate death, that is acute myocardial infarction, pulmonary embolism, and others, or it can be just a non-cardiac pain. So if you misdiagnose the chest pain, it can lead to a catastrophic results. And if you misdiagnose it as a non-cardiac pain, as a chest pain, then it becomes extra expenses to resources and causing enormous amount of cost involvement in treating every patient like this. So it has been always a challenging situation for all clinicians, for all patients, to rightly analyze the chest pain and put it in the right perspective and do the right triage. So this is the first time that ACC has given certain guidelines for evaluation and diagnosis of chest pain, and these guidelines will go a long way if rightly, acted upon by every physician, every clinician, every casualty man in evaluating and diagnosing the triage and deciding upon the right treatment of the disease.
Very true, sir. So, sir, I'd like to now ask you a couple of questions. If you can just give us your thought or your viewpoint on that. Now, how the new guidelines have actually redefined chest pain?
The chest pain, it is the most common presentation. They call it chest pain, and the guidelines have just reiterated the point that the chest pain is just more than the pain in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
That is many other symptoms like heaviness, jaw pain, upper abdomen pain, pressure, tightness, a number of other things which is not exactly the pain, but just discomfort. So it has been highlighted like any visceral pain, sensation produced by myocardial ischemia is characteristically deep and difficult to localize and often diffuse. And this particular thing more often presents like a chest discomfort. And one more very important thing which they have identified in these guidelines is that traditionally we have been calling about what is typical chest pain, what is atypical chest pain. Mm-hmm. Typical chest pain, they have been talking about that the classically substernal pain, ischemic pain, and atypical chest pain we are normally referring it to something which is not caused by ischemia, that is non-cardiac pain. But now this particular terminology has been used for years. The recent guidelines says that this is not correct, because many times it causes confusion. and they said that it should be more of an ischemic and non-ischemic. So ischemic pain means that cardiac pain, and they said that to decrease the ambiguity into the system, they can call it cardiac pain, possible cardiac pain, and non-cardiac pain. So that is how the pain is further stratified. And it is important that the characteristic of pain, which is important in diagnosing, is the character of the pain, the onset of the pain, the duration of the pain, the localization of the pain, severity of the pain, precipitating factors, relieving factors, and also associated symptoms. So many times the associated symptoms have becomes very dominant, and they become the presenting factors. And when associating symptoms are presenting, they will be presenting like vomiting, diarrhea, palpitation, lightheadedness, syncope. These things are also important. So these also should be taken care of. So pain has been not redefined, but it has been clarified that it is not always a pain in the chest, but it can be more than the pain in the chest. That is the tightness, pressure, discomfort in shoulder and arms, even the jaws, even the abdomen, sometimes in the back, can all be cardiac nature.
Thank you so much for your feedback, sir. Now, if I would like to just ask you about how the guidelines supported approach basically to initial focused cardiovascular evaluation. So how these new guidelines have helped us to narrow down to these cardiovascular evaluation.
You see, the guidelines have again said that there should be a focused history and a focused examination. In the ED, in emergency department, there should be focused history and focused examination. And the history of pain, and that is discomfort or the tightness, whatever, should be in the nature of the pain first. The general pains are normally retrosternal and normally pain, discomfort, heaviness. And a sharp pain which is pleuritic pain, which is sometimes fleeting pain, shifting pain, positional pain. These pains are not normally cardiac. So the character of the pain is important to be assessed in the beginning only. And then onset and duration. It is also important that all angina pains are slow in development. It takes 2 to 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes to reach the peak. And sudden onset pain, which is a ripping chest pain, which is radiating in the lower back, is normally not ischemic. It can be because of a dissection or something else. And a fleeting chest pain, few minutes, few seconds pain, अभी यहाँ है अभी नहीं है, इस तरह की pain, which is or a pinpoint pain, which is related to one place, is normally non-cardiac. And the location of pain is also important. Location of pain goes down to the chest, to the shoulders, to the jaws, to the back, to the abdomen, and these all pains can be very important. That pain which is deep-seated is more likely to be cardiac, and a superficial pain which is positioning into one point is normally non-cardiac. Severity of chest pain is also to be assessed. A ripping chest pain, which is sudden onset, especially in hypertensive patients, can be because of a dissection, and it will always be highlighted. And you should be very, very careful, because in these cases, as I will tell you before, after that, electrocardiogram will be normal, and the patient is having severe symptoms. And the more important thing is that what caused the pain, the precipitating factors. Precipitating factors is that, like somebody who is exertional pain related to emotion, exertional is more likely to be cardiac, and with the positional change is not cardiac. Something pain gets on lying down, taking a side, normally not cardiac. And how does it relieve? Sometimes you give nitroglycerin, it is relieved. And if it is relieved by giving nitroglycerin, you become more sensitive that it is ischemic in nature. And of course, I told you that the associated symptoms. So in the focused history, it is very important that you analyze the pain in the terms of the character, onset, the duration, the location, the radiation, the severity, the precipitating factors, the relieving factors, and the associated symptoms. After having taken a detailed history, we will like to also see that how does we look out that physical examination, that a focused cardiovascular examination has to be done. And the focused cardiovascular examination will be again the physical examination that patient-associated symptoms like diaphoresis, tachypnea, tachycardia, pulse तेज है, और ये associated symptoms हैं. We look at the lungs, they find that there are cackles, LVF है, murmur है कोई MR की. This can be very highly symptomatic of a acute coronary syndrome. And if there is a tachycardia, dyspnea, and oxygen saturation is low, and there is a suspicion of pulmonary embolism. And if you find that the pain is both limb, the differential hypertension, blood pressure is different in the two limbs, it can be suggestive of aortic dissection. And of course, other cardiac pains like pericarditis, myocarditis, they are also suggestive. You can always diagnose them. And certain pains which are not cardiac pains, like esophagitis, like pneumonia, which has got associated fever, localized pain, the pleuritic pain goes more in favor of pneumonia, and pneumothorax pain, which is absent of burst sounds. So we have to give a thorough local examination of the heart and lung. And certain herpes zoster, we give a scheme with the pain into a single dermatome. That is so all these things will assess. So focus history and focus cardiovascular examination, including the lung examination and the skin examination, the bone examination, the chest should be done urgently to rule out that this is the cardiac pain. So this particular guidelines have recommended that evaluation of the chest pain by a focus history and focus examination, cardiovascular examination, should be done as early as possible in the emergency department to rule out the serious causes of chest pain. So it is very important because certain causes of chest pain, like that of acute coronary syndrome, the mechanical function, or pulmonary embolism, aortic dissection, something like esophageal rupture, or pneumothorax, you can kill. They can kill immediately, and these to diagnose these pains by history and by examination will be extremely useful and important. And certain other illnesses like costochondritis, herpes zoster, they're non-killing. They are very chronic diseases, and they can be easily patients can be sent back home. So I'm very happy that these guidelines are summarized and given a direction that every pain should be understood as a whole before you can go into the further diagnostic procedures.
Very true, sir. So we've actually covered a vast topic of chest pain, and you've provided your insight on how it is. These guidelines have actually redefined chest pain, as well as you helped us understand what a detailed history and how important a detailed history is required in such patients. So that is something which will help a lot of practitioners, a lot of medical professionals to understand the patient's level of the severity of the problem, and that will really be helpful to diagnose such a condition at a very early stage. So I really thank you so much, sir, for having provided your thoughtful comments on this particular topic. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So folks, that's all for today. We shall come again with one other topic.
Never miss a medical update from Medical Dialogues. Like, subscribe, and press the bell icon.